what even is Next.js. They say that it gives you the best developer experience with all the features you need for production, hybrid, static, and server rendering sites. It also includes TypeScript support, smart bundling, route prefetching, and more. And config the data out of the box. For me, it allows you to utilize React and potentially TypeScript to iterate quickly on building, optimizing performance.
Cody, pause real quick. Unmute yours, and I'm going to mute mine. Sorry.
Perfect. There you go. Now you guys can hear. So let me see. So you can do optimized and performant websites while utilizing modern JavaScript and TypeScript. So you don't really need to worry about like targeting IE, although IE is finally dying next year. So we should throw a party when that happens. So I'm really excited for that. But I have had some sites recently that needed like IE 11 or 10. 10 was a little sketchy, but IE 11 was working. I think React 18 might have dropped it, and that just came out in this last month. And then the nice thing about this too is you can choose to either host it as a server or build a static website. So that's great if you want to push it up to like S3 or like a GitHub page. And then let's see. You can also utilize it as like a full-blown server and use it as like an API service or even a proxy. So you don't want to just go throwing all your keys and secrets at the client and just being like, have fun, do whatever you want. So you can actually have it sit in as kind of a nice little protected middleware between you and the world. And then it also has image optimization, which is great because it will do like a source set and it will spit out like 5 different flavors of images and they'll all be optimized and minified and all that great stuff. So let's see here. We're going to just start with Next.js project. We're doing this live, so anything could happen. Let's see here. So npx create next app at latest and greatest. We're going to do TypeScript because once you go TypeScript, you can't go back. It's unfortunate, but it's great. And then we're going to use an example package from them, which we're going to use the with Tailwind CSS. Oh, am I not sharing on step 1? Classic. There we go. Success. And we have live captioning. Dangerous. Okay. So we'll give it a name. So let's just go with what is even the name of this? We're going to do routing your way through Next.js. Okay. Hopefully I don't already have that one. Perfect. Normally, you don't want this to take forever, but hopefully everything's cached. So maybe like 5 or 10 seconds at the worst, or before I finish this sentence. So we're going to hop into VS Code. I'm going to see if I can get away with doing a split window. This might be a little dangerous. We'll see. Move you over here. Trust everything. Okay, so let's get the server running. So we'll just do npm run dev. And it also supports hot module reloading. So if you change something on a page, which we'll show here in just a moment. Bum, bum, bum. All right, so it says get started by going to pages index. So we'll just hop in there, and this is the code for that. So if I say like hello world in here, as soon as I save, it should show up in here. So that's fantastic, great. We also have just been using Tailwind a lot for the last several months, so it can be fun. It gives you just like quick CSS inline pretty much. So I could say like BG red 500. It also just kind of sets you to a standard, so you're not like getting too crazy. It kind of sets you in its ways. But we aren't going to do red today, but just a quick option. Alrighty, got to get back to my notes. So something I wanted to go over real quick is state management. So in React, if we want to have state for this functional component, we can do like const username. We'll have a set username. Thanks, Copilot. I'm going to use Copilot as much as possible through this. So Copilot just kind of uses AI to give you autocomplete, which is great life hacks. So now instead of hello world, let's just nuke all this and we'll just say hello. And then we're going to use a variable here. So anything in the curly brackets will render that variable. I thought I got rid of you, BG red 500. Okay. There we go. So right now the initial state's empty, but if I threw something in there, now I have hello coder. And then I'm just going to do a quick and dirty input of just to show how we can bind input to a variable real quick. Let's see. Let's see if Copilot can be smarter. If I just say an input field that binds to the username. Let's see if it will write for me. This is horrible. Let's see what it does. Enter your name. Thank you. Thank you. And it's even going to do this on change. So now we get a nice input field. We kind of want to see that. So we're going to use one of Tailwind's classes, just give it a border real quick. So now we can kind of see this. So going through this code that Copilot generated for us, it's got this, the two most important parts is value and on change. So value is what's going to populate this box, but on change will listen to changes and update it. It's kind of seems crazy in the React world, but if I got rid of the on change, we could come in here and we can't even type. It's just like, not today. We're not going to let it because it's constantly updating our state to that variable. But if we allow on change, it kind of gets hooked in there. And now we can do this. So this is still reading that username variable and it's just updating as quickly as we can type. If I refresh the page, it should go back to that initial state. And we can also see that the text box is getting that initial state. There's so many things on the screen. Zoom probably can't see any of it, but I assure you it exists. Maybe I can get rid of that without destroying everything. Perfect. So we're going to hop into the page layout here. So right now we're just on good old index. I'm going to clone this and let's do like users. Head is just a magical helper component that allows you to set things like titles and fav icon. And normally too, we would want to abstract this all out into like a page component that would be reusable. Maybe we do that towards the end, but it's not the main focus. So let's just come down here and delete all of that. Okay, so we'll just do like H1 users, boom. So we've got this awesome page. We're not on it yet. Otherwise it would have been showing the hot module reloading. So the next step is we want to link to that page. I'm going to go and create a reusable navigation component so that we can have it on both pages. Out of the box, there's like no opinions. So you kind of get to make your own. So probably don't just go throw in everything in the root folder. We're just going to do a components directory here. And we're going to keep it easy. Just call this navigation TSX. You got TypeScript, and then the X gives you your like standard JSX magic so that we can come in here and use just kind of like elements and components. Okay, so we're going to make a quick navigation component, export default navigation, if I can spell today, or just let Copilot do it. So let's just get this on the pages real quick. So if we go back to our index, we'll just import that navigation right there. Since we don't have any child components for this component, we're just going to terminate it real quick. So now we can see we've got nav. Awesome. Now for the actual the magic, let's come in here, get rid of this. Okay. We'll just do a good old. Oh, it's trying to help me. Great. We'll just let it. But this won't be about. This is going to be our users page. And then we need to close up our UL. We got squigglies on link because we need to import this. So Next provides this magical link component. And what this does is it will use like a push state management. So you're not actually like hard reloading the page as you navigate between all these. So now if I save this, woo, woo, we got a beautiful navigation. We can go home. I like these to be horizontal, so let's use some of our fancy tailwind. We'll just throw flex on here. You should be updated. Oh, wrong parent. We'll just throw it on the UL real quick, give it that space. Okay, and then we want like a gap of 6. This extension I'm using for tailwind, it will show you like, hey, -6 is 1.5 rems, it's 24 pixels. The quick and dirty to it is you do 6 times 4, and that's gonna get you your 24 because it's measuring in M's. And each unit is gonna be 4 pixels or just by default. So now if we save, voila, we got this. We should be able to come over here, click on users. Now we're on our user page. Fantastic. Let me get where I'm at on my notes here. Kind of jumped way ahead. So, alrighty. So my crazy thought was we want to have this idea of a user. So in TypeScript, we're not going to do it in the navigation. Get out of here. We're going to go back to our users. We're going to create a interface of a user, and it's going to have, let's do like a first name. Oh, string. Okay, then we've got last name string. Let's do our email on there. And then we will do age just to have some type of other data type that's not a string. Alrighty. So going back to this, we're going to have 4 different fields now. So looking back at our, oh yeah, we want to have our navigation in here. How would I ever get back home? Wait, it's not navigator. Where's my navigation? It doesn't want to. Oh, step 1, spell good. This is the hardest part. It's not going to have it. Navigation. Let's see if it gives me the magic blue light bulb. And did I spell navigation wrong? Maybe. No. Sometimes when things get crazy, you might want to just do a restart your TypeScript server, and sometimes that will just make life better when it's not resolving. Aha, there we go. All right, so now we have our home and our user page, and it's pretty snappy. It's not actually reloading everything, so that's great, or maybe it's not great. Depends what you want. Ideally, it should only be shipping over what we need for that page we're going on. So now that we have this idea of a user, oh yeah, I wanted to go back and show that with this input field, we have to do this whole like value and on change, and then we also have this like state management. And it just becomes this really redundant pattern when you start adding more and more fields. So I'm going to go install Formic, which is a nice little library that will help us out. So npm I Formic. And we got it. Woo. Okay, so with Formic, oh yeah, we want to get the dev server back up. So now on the users page, we can create quick and dirty form. So with Formic, we're going to restart the TypeScript server again because it doesn't even think it exists. I'm not sure why TypeScript doesn't do better, or maybe it's something with VS Code, but now we got Formic. We're going to let it be red and squiggly for a second. It has its own form component that we're going to use and wrap our form in. And then it has, instead of doing the standard input, we're going to use field, but not themed. We'll import that. And then, so with this, as you can see with the autocomplete, we've got stuff like type, text, that's default, so there's no reason to do that. But we will put a name equals first name on here. And then we could put a placeholder. Let's just get rid of that. Let's just, oh yeah, we won't need a label if we have a placeholder. Sure. All right, nice and visible form there. Let's just get crazy and maybe Copilot will catch on to the pattern here, and voila. And then for this, we want a type of number. And then for this one, we'll do a type of email. Is it going to give us autocomplete? Formic tends to be really good at autocomplete, but maybe my TypeScript language server has just been off its rocker lately. All these are nice and great since we can't see them. So let's just get some quick tailwind in all these. Just go class name equals, throw a border on them. Okay. And then for this, let's do class name. Let's do a flex column on it. Just kind of stack them on top of each other. And then let's put a gap of 4 between them. Nice. Good to go. Go home. So now we've got our awesome field. I guess, no field is great until it actually has a submit button. Thank you. Thank you. Just give us a, button does not exist. Oh, it wants a closing tag. I guess we can do that. Okay, beautiful submit button. We'll just give it a color too, like a BG blue 500. Let's see if that's, and then we'd want like text white. Nice. So just keeping a super standard form here. So now we can come in and, oh, it is going to blow up. That's because we have not handled our formic yet, or so I believe. So if we look at this, it's going to complain that we need to have some initial values and an on submit handler. So for this, I'm just going to do it all inline. Normally I'd, refactor this out into an actual variable name, not just inline at all, but got our first name, last name. Those are all fine for empty. Age of 0, just to have something here. I think with the input too, you could actually just do an empty string. I might be lying. Yep, line. But yeah, we'll do a number there. And then we also need to have, we could also type this and say, hey, it's a user, sure. Oh, the world went crazy. Is the user in here? Yep. Okay. Maybe I lied. We're just gonna let it be. Keep it super simple right now. So we're gonna do an on submit, and we're gonna give it a handler. So we're gonna do an anonymous arrow function here. And when you submit with the formic, we're gonna get, the first thing is gonna be values. Well, I mean, it's whatever you want to call it, but values is a great name. I recommend it. And then let's just console log these out. So, hello world. One has to be over 9,000. Okay, let's check out our console and see. Oh, you got to click down here while you're here while we're on 100. Anywho. So when we submitted, we get this nice object. It's got our age, our email, first name, last name. Things are great. So let's see how we're on time. 20 minutes. Wonderful. We might actually get further than I thought. So going back here, this was really nice because we were able to avoid just, let me split this. So for science, oh, there we go. So over here with just our username on the homepage, we had to create our use state for that one field. We would have had to did that same thing for all these. And then we also had to put this whole value in on change. So this is, I'm brain farting right now, but it's like, I think they call it a controlled input when you handle it like this. But Formic allows you to just, have some magic. We don't need this right now, although we will get back to some state management here. So yeah, this was really nice. We didn't even need to have a placeholder. Of course, then we would have needed some, some labels to go with it. So we're just cheating the system a little bit. Okay, so the next idea is we've got this idea of like users. Let's like store them in a collection, maybe like even write that to our local storage. This is the part that's going to be off the rails because I did not script any of this, even though I haven't been looking at my notes. But let's go look at a local storage hook for React. Use hooks.com. we're gonna do what all great developers do and borrow it. So look at this. We got a nice hook here. It's not even Stack Overflow. That's how you know it's extra official. And then just to keep things not crazy, we'll just do a folder called hooks. We're even getting nice little folder icons. How nice, got a little hook on there. Enhance. And this is going to be called, what did they call it? We don't want to hurt their feelings. This is called use local storage. I don't think there's any elements in here, so we can just call it a TS. If that doesn't work, we will abort that idea. Our navigation, it's finished. We can close that. So let's come over here, go to save. We need to export this. Maybe that's why it's angry. I don't know. TypeScript's also trying to, let's just use TSX just in case. Because it is doing this whole use state. So we need to actually import that from React. And now I think we're good. The last thing might be that it's like, hey, we've got any type. TypeScript doesn't really like that. If you have that turned on, that doesn't allow any, which is really great. But for now, I guess we can say that key is a string in this case. And the initial value, I think, can be anything, because if we look at the code here, it's going to parse. So yeah, it should be returning this item. Okay, so it's going to give us, it's going to rehydrate the thing that we store and bring it into an object. So it could just be any object. We could just say object as well, but we'll just do that for now. Oh, and then value, set value implicitly has, let's explicitly be anything. That's also equally as bad. Don't do it. So now we have this cool use storage. So if I'm thinking what this is correctly, we can do like const users equals use storage, local storage. And then this needs to live under a key. So we'll just call it users. And then it needs an initial value, which will just be an empty array. And we could, yeah, that'll be fine. Okay, so now when we submit, let's push that into our collection here. So we have, or wait, let's look at the API, how they actually use local storage, because it probably will have a getter and a setter. Yep. So we're going to destructure the first two things it returns us to whatever arbitrary names we like. So common pattern is users, and then set users. Perfect. And then let's get crazy, and we're just going to jump ahead a little bit, and we're going to do a little free tag here. We're going to hop in here and JSON stringify users. Perfect. You knew what we wanted, Copilot. Thank you. So when we go to submit this now, we can just do set users. You might think that with React, you often want to do everything immutable. So we're going to rebuild our entire array and save it. So to do that in JavaScript, we're going to spread out the current user collection, and then we're going to append the values. Okay, but we don't want values to be called values. So, so we're going to just go. I think that'll do. Hopefully, maybe. Why are you angry? Type is not an array type. But we're saying that we want an array of users. So let's just do, we're going to say secretly, this is, I don't know if this thing we're using actually has any type magic, but we'll see. We can hover this and see if it, no, it still thinks it's any. So if we actually implemented some generics, we might be able to determine by the second parameter what's actually coming back here. So this is going to be angry, but let's just see what happens. It's probably going to blow up. That's classic. Unexpected div token. So, like I said, we're doing this live. Anything could happen. So set users. And yet again, angry. Sometimes you just got to give it a hard refresh. So right now we have it spitting out the JSON stringified users right above this. So let's see if this works. I think it was Peter Casey that once said, you know, are you going to bet that this is going to work? He's like, I'll bet you $100 it's not going to work. Let's see. Oh, yep. See something. Trouble in paradise. Unhandled error. Caught from Smith. Oh no. Attempt to spread a non-iterable. Yep. Yeah. See, we knew something was going to happen. So let's just see. Well, we have the console log values. Let's just put that above here again and just see what happens. Or this is not pretty, but I'm just gonna do it for science. Would that work? How many parentheses does autocomplete want? All of them. Okay, I think that's enough. Then we have our onsel. Classic. Okay. So let's try that again. Just gonna go. Oh, perfect. Yep. Okay, users, we got one. Yep. Oh, and then we can just keep submitting, or maybe not. Oh. Okay, so it works once, and that's not even really what we were probably expecting, because there should be more than, well, it should be JSON stringifying that collection, and one should not be the collection. So maybe the library I grabbed just doesn't work. This is the danger territory. So let's go.
Maybe you
into
mean
our local-
instead of dot questions, maybe
What is-
dot concat.
Yep, the number one. Perfect. So let's see what this actually is. We could actually put like a console deep or a debugger in here and like look around. But you know, sometimes it's fun just to console log. And then we're just gonna print that out. So let's see what that equals. Ooh. Thank you for, yes, chat knows the way. Let's just see what is going on there. So oh, text content did not match. Server client. So this is fun. Sometimes next we'll be like, hey, the server did one thing, the client did something else. Never try to generate a UUID on the back end. You're gonna have a bad time. So we'll see here. Oh, I heard somebody talking, maybe, potentially. Here's their chat. So where's this comment? This comment. I can't get back to Zoom. This is my struggle. I hid it from myself. Not today. Well, okay, so we were saying, where did you go? This is, yeah, we're in the danger zone. So did we ever get the, oh yeah, I don't know why. I wonder if I just do that. That is what we don't want to do, but let's just, for science. Okay, text content did not match. So I wonder what's going on here. If I had to take a random guess, it's probably this hook it does not like. So I think that the server does not have a local storage where the client side does. So that's why it's getting angry. So for now, I guess we won't commit it to the use. State. We'll just do this for a second for now. And then I wanted some type of persistent state, but I am remembering that we're gonna have that time. And that's probably why it's acting a little wonky. Okay, so now let's just do. Okay. Woo, there we go. Success. Okay, so we can see that coming through. Ideally, we'd woo. Ideally, we'd want to clear this form out after we're done. Ship it. So then I guess the other part of this, I'll probably try to do this in the next 10 minutes. Since we don't have a persistent state, we can't pull it out and show these, but my crazy idea was that we can save this though. We worked so hard to generate this big data. So with pages, there's this really cool thing where we can have, we'll do like, well, my Mac loves to do this. I don't know why. I gotta create files twice. So we'll have users, and then inside of this, we'll move our users file in here. But now, to get the same routing, 404. So to get the same routing, we'll call this index. And now, hopefully it updated all of our imports, all the ugly relative imports. Goodbye, use local storage. Okay, so now we're back to rendering at users index, but there's this cool thing where we can use dynamic paths. So let's say this is like a user ID. Then I'm just gonna clone this real quick. Why not? Okay. So the idea here is that we can do users, and then there could be like, user 1, 2, 3. So this page exists. It's just letting us have any dynamic little part of the URL there. You can also use these dynamic segments like as a folder name if you want to. So if you could actually have it nested, it doesn't always have to be the very last thing of your route. So you could have like users dash posts, and you could pull that. We could even this is what I was talking about earlier, where it's like, oh, you can have an API in here. So we could have it actually like hit the database, save it. Remix might be easier and better for that, but I haven't tried it yet. But there's been a lot of hype around it. So anywho, let's get this dynamic segment out of here. So to do that, we're going to use const router, use router, yes. And we're going to import it. So Next provides this magical router for us. If you've ever played in React, they have their own magical routing. I guess the biggest part about Next is they have this really easy to grasp like folder structure. And then we can do like const. What do co-pilots think? So there is a caveat here. So we've got this ID that we're spreading out of the query. There can be multiple things in there. And then you'd want to avoid conflict. So ID, maybe that's not a great name. Maybe it should be like user ID. So I'm going to do a console.login here. Okay, let's open back the console and see that it's coming through. Let's see, it's there. Woo, success. But let's see if we go here and we come back. So if you notice, it says undefined. So there's this fun shenanigan where the router isn't necessarily ready and you might get undefined. So that's really a struggle when, or I guess we're just not going to get it because we didn't have any ID in here. So that makes sense. Yep. So let's actually just go back to our navigation, just do something quick and dirty. We'll just have users dash user 1, 2, 3. Okay, so now we can just navigate over to here. Okay, so let's clear our console because the page isn't actually refreshing. I guess it's just grabbing that ID. Maybe they finally fixed this, but there have been times or commonly where you will have to actually go in here and say like router is ready. and you'll have to ask if it's ready. And if it's not ready, then you don't want to like go out and maybe like fetch this against your service if you're trying to look up that user ID. I don't know if maybe this is where I should just kind of end it, because I mean, the very last thing we could do is we could say like users, and then we can use that ID here, but so my big idea was that we were going to actually commit this to a persistent storage layer, like local storage, load it back up, and then be able to actually like go to those users and like fetch them out of the storage. But local storage, I forgot that it's can be a pain. I'm surprised there's not just a nice, easy package out there. Maybe there is, but to be determined for next time. But yeah, that was the crash course for React, Next.js, forms, and some dynamic routing. Voila. I would ask if there's any questions on chat or any IRL questions. Oh, it's alive. It exists. I found it. It was a hiding bar the whole time. Could have drew on my own screen. Wow. Okay. I guess I'm going to stop the share if there's no questions going on. Guess everybody have a wonderful Friday tomorrow and a lovely weekend.